And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final prediction show for college football this season for the Pigskin Mafia podcast. I'm your host, TJ Riddell. And we have a matchup that would be awesome to watch back in the early 2000s that everybody thought that one or both of these programs were eventually going to get into the national championship around that time. But what a road it's been to the college football playoff national championship. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Buckeyes or a Fighting Irish fan, congratulations to you guys. It has been a long and tedious road to this point. Minor setbacks for both teams. Oregon and Michigan for Ohio State, and then Northern Illinois for Notre Dame. What a road it's been for college football as a whole. I'm glad to be here. I'm your host, TJ Riddell, as we get ready to talk about the national championship. First time we've really took a deep dive on the national championship since the 2022 national championship. I didn't get to do the 2023 because we were undergoing changes through our podcast, and here we are today. And what a road it's been to get to this point. Ohio State, Notre Dame. What a road it's been for those two teams. For Notre Dame, an early season loss for them against a Mid-American Conference team who's eventually going to, move on over to the Mountain West Conference in Northern Illinois. A team that's pretty average at best. What's going on, Valeria Sanchez? I hope I didn't say it like a disease, but I'm not real good with names. But welcome. Leave a like. Hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell for when we go on live. STA Bomb, what's going on? Karan Kumar, good evening from the United States of America. This is a huge game for folks if you are inclined to college football, and for historians as well. Ohio State, rich in history and national championships and also Heisman trophies. And then, that's a weird question to ask on a football podcast, but yeah, sure. And then Notre Dame, you have legendary coaches like Lou Holtz. You have Charlie Weiss. You have so many legendary coaches and some rich history behind those programs in football. And now it culminates all together into the national championship scene. Ohio State being a first-round team, beating Tennessee 41-17. What's up, Justin? Then they go on to beat Oregon in the Rose Bowl, 42-21, it was 42-21. And then beating my Longhorns, unfortunately, 28-14 on a terrific fourth down stop by Jack Sawyer and took it to the house for 83 yards. What a road for Ohio State, but even better road for Notre Dame. Didn't get to be in a conference championship as well. They didn't get to play a 13th game, but they got to be the home team and faced off against Indiana, beat them 27-17. Then they did the unthinkable, beat Georgia in a college football playoff. completely dominated that game, 23-10. And everybody was thinking, well, they could choke up and lose to Penn State, and it could be an all Big Ten national championship. Wrong. Notre Dame beats Penn State 27-24 in what was a fantastic game. Probably, arguably, the best game in this bowl game season, in my opinion. But yeah, you got a lot of history behind these programs and a lot of victories by these programs too. And I'm real excited about this matchup, honestly, because you don't know what you're going to get out of this matchup. Whether or not you're going to get the Notre Dame that is lackadaisical in the first half and starts off fast in the second half like they did against Penn State, or they're going to beat the hell out of you in the first half and let loose in the second half, or they play the first and fourth strong and the second and third weak, or vice versa. Ohio State, they've been on a roll lately. I really like the way they've been playing, and the only problem I see is Will Howard, honestly. I don't think Will Howard's that great of a quarterback, in my opinion, but it is what it is. I mean, he's got Ferraris around, and he's the one-by-one bedroom, or house, So, one bed, one bath house. I mean, I live in one, so it is what it is. Before I get into all the predicting and whatnot, I just want to say, for those that have kept up with the Pigskin Mafia podcast, thank you for subscribing and liking us and sharing it to your folks and hitting that notification bell, because it means a lot to me and my boy JMO. Now, I'm going to give you all JMO's prediction. I think he has Ohio State winning this matchup. He could jot down in the comments or the chat later and say, no, I have Notre Dame, or TJ's absolutely right, or whatever it is. But I kind of want to just talk about how this college football season has went for me. Like, as a guy that studies and watches these games a lot, and I call myself a professional fan 9 times out of 10 when I watch games, because I watch every bit of everything. The trench work, the gap scheme, everything. I watch everything. I thought this year for college football was very, I don't want to say watered down, but it was confusing. Like, it was confusing to watch. I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it was confusing to the fact that there were teams that we thought that were going to be good, but ended up being 3-9, like Oklahoma State, and Utah being 5-7. We thought that there was going to be teams that were going to stink it up that ended up being really good, like Indiana. I mean, it was just a very, very confusing season. Not in a bad way, though. It was still entertaining to watch. There were still good games. You might have the old heads in the room saying, heck, this product's watered down. No, the NFL's watered down. College football is fun to watch. It's just the transfer portal and the NIL ruin that for a lot of people. But that's okay. Hopefully we get this fixed in the grand scheme of things with the transfer portal, and now the JUCO eligibility clock is not a thing anymore. Now you could play 2 years in JUCO and then play 4 years in the Division I level, which is, I don't like it because of the fact that it takes away from the high school recruits. So now you're going to make JUCO a prep for this semi-pro football league known as college football. And realistically, the Power 4 conferences are your professional or your semi-pro football leagues. And then your group of fives are actually playing for the game, you know. That hence to why Toledo beat Mississippi State, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. Just, it's not parity, it's just confusion. That's the best way I could say it. But I fairly enjoyed this season. I really did. And it was fun to watch. I would probably say the worst looking conference. What's going on, Seth Palmer, Fighting Irish fan? Congratulations to you, man. How's it feel to have your Irish in the national championship, first of all? But probably the most disappointing Power 4 to watch was arguably the Big 12. Just a lot of teams that's good, Seth. I'm happy for you, and we'll see what my prediction is for Notre Dame versus Ohio State in the national championship. But I think the Big 12 was a little bit disappointing this season because of the simple fact that the roles were reversed. That the teams that we thought were going to be horrible ended up being competitive, and the teams that we thought were going to be great ended up being shit. So that was a very disappointing conference. Now, I'm not going to knock them for the competitive spirit. I'm knocking them because of the fact that you're supposed to have Utah and Oklahoma State be your flagship programs of the Big 12, from what I'm gathering. And they stink it up this year. They really did. Oklahoma State had every reason to be in the mix of the college football playoffs, and they stunk it up this season. A lot of mess went wrong in Oklahoma State, and I feel bad for the Pokes fans that I talk to every day. And Kevin Dunn out of there, good for them. And Mike Gundy might be there for one more year, honestly. So we'll see what happens with that next season. But let's go ahead and go through our tail of the tape for the national championship here. As I got on my handwritten notes, I went over their stats and everything. So you got number 8, 13-2 Ohio State taking on number 7, 14-1 Notre Dame in the national championship, which is being held in Mercedes Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Atlanta Falcons. I looked at the odds on ESPN, and it went from 9.5 to 8. So now Ohio State is favored by 8 points, which is very alarming for bettors, I think. It kind of was alarming to me that the odds went down a little bit. And then the over and under went 45 and 5 or 45.5. That's the over and under. Money line minus 380 for Ohio State, plus 290 for Notre Dame. So that's a risk it for the biscuit move right there. That's how I always state. And the matchup predictor for ESPN got it at 55.3% for Ohio State and 44.7% for Notre Dame. So they think Ohio State's going to go over a touchdown in this game, I believe, against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a very, very difficult defense to prepare for, from what I've gathered throughout this playoff. They're very, very athletic on the defensive side of the ball. And their secondary is a very dangerous secondary. So they go after heads, not the ball. So, I mean, they go after the ball, but you get what I'm saying. They like to hit, and I like defenses like that. But this is a good matchup, I think. Ohio State's run game versus Notre Dame's front seven. I like Notre Dame's front seven, but I really like Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. I mean, those two behemoths are scary. Like, you saw what Quinshon Judkins did in the first quarter against Texas. And then you saw Trevion Henderson kind of spark up after that personal foul in that game. Let's break down the quarterbacks real quick. Will Howard, 292 for 402 attempts. So he completes 72.6% of his passes. Chance Greer, how about them Texans? Yeah, great win for them. Tomorrow we'll break down the NFL wild card, and I will make my NFL divisional round predictions tomorrow night. So tune into that one, Chance. But stay on for this one, but tune in tomorrow night as well. So you got Notre Dame money line, 290 for the money line, Chance. Just letting you know, if Notre Dame wins, it's 290 for the money line. Will Howard has thrown 3,779 yards. Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Averages almost 9.5 yards passing the ball, so he gets about 9 yards per throw, almost 10 yards. And again, he has 72.6% completion rating, which is pretty crazy in this college football world, especially with how bad Will Howard is, which we all know how bad Will Howard is, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and move on to the Duke transfer, Riley Leonard. 247 for 372 pass completions. He's thrown 2,606 yards. He's thrown 19 touchdowns for 8 interceptions. He's thrown, on average, 7 yards per throw. And he's got a 66.4 completion rating, which is pretty decent for what Notre Dame does. The rushing side, now I put 2 running backs on each because they both rely on their running backs pretty well, especially in the run game. Trevion Henderson, 132 carries, 967 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, averages 7.3 yards per carry. And Quinshon Judkins, who gets more carries, 183 carries, 960 yards, 12 touchdowns, and averages 5.2 yards on average, which is pretty good for such a reliable running back core in Ohio State. I really like their running back system, the way they sub in and out Henderson and Judkins. Like, it's possible that they're about to have 2 1,000-yard rushers in this game. Then we look over at Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, 159 on the carries, 1,121 rushing yards, 17 touchdowns, 7.1 on average. Now, the question is Jeremiah Love healthy enough to play? That's the real question that we need to be asking. Is he healthy enough to play? I mean, we saw it against Penn State. He was able to hurdle a defender. and get a couple yards off that. But that's my question. Is he healthy enough to play against Ohio State? And when I say is he healthy enough, is he going to be able to play to the standard that he's been playing in Notre Dame? But if he does happen to go out, he's got a pretty good backup in Jadarian Price, who, yeah, there you go. Is he going to be productive enough to be able to play against this Ohio State defense, who is rowdy enough? But they're not. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Ohio State's defense is really not that run heavy. They're more against the pass than anything. They have a good, solid linebacking core, but you saw some fragments on that defense against Texas. That's all I'll say. But in case if Jeremiah Love doesn't play, Jadarian Price, 117 carries, 773 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, and averages 6.3 carry or yards per carry. So I really like Jadarian Price. I've liked what I've seen over the last 3 games for him. He's played really well for Jeremiah Love. I mean, the guy can run. What's going on, JB Productions? Good to see you back on here. Now let's get to the receiving, which is completely lopsided. It's very possible, but Riley Leonard kind of scares me as a passer. I'm not going to lie. Jeremiah Smith, 71 receiving or receptions. 1,227 yards, 14 touchdowns, 17.3 on average. The problem is when he gets held up, it kind of backflows Will Howard in the sense to where he kind of panics where to throw. You kind of saw it in the Ohio State-Texas game. I thought he had a little bit of trouble trying to find a receiver, but he did find Emeka Egbuka, who's another reliable target, 75 receptions, almost at 1,000 yards receiving, but he's at 947 right now. 10 touchdowns, averages 12.6 receiving yards. I'm telling y'all, if Notre Dame locks up Jeremiah Smith or Egbuka, it's going to be a trouble in paradise for Will Howard. Then you got Jaden Greathouse, Austin Westlake alumni. I believe he played for Cade Klubnik. I'm not too sure when he was at Austin Westlake, but Greathouse, 36 receptions, 464 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12.9 average. I mean, Greathouse had an outstanding game against Penn State the other night and also Georgia. But if it's not him, it's going to be Bo Collins, 37 receptions, 458 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12.4 on average. And I'm just going to do that and do this. There we go. I changed my score a little bit. It's crazy. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fun game to watch for sure. Now, for the points for and points against, Ohio State in the playoffs, and we're just doing playoffs, not the entire season. I didn't have enough time to do the season. Points for Ohio State, 37. When they played against Texas, it kind of hurt their average on points for, but besides the Texas game, they looked really good against Oregon and Tennessee, but I still don't think that they're really good defenses, but we'll see what happens here. Defensively, they averaged 17.3 per game, so That that Ohio State defense is pretty top notch. If you're pass heavy, notice what I'm saying when I say that. Notre Dame points for 25.67. They've been fairly consistent on offense. Just balancing out their playbook. More of a run balance, I would say, and using Riley Leonard, who's got 866 rushing yards and 16 rushing touchdowns, which is incredible for a quarterback in his stature. I mean, then defensively, Notre Dame's is slightly better with 17 points against. So, I don't know. I think this is going to be a fun one, honestly. Everybody's expecting a blowout. So, Sumi, he says, what's up? His name is Andre, but his YouTube name is Sumi. And he would like a shout out, and he is an Irish fan. So, shout out to you, Sumi. Shout out to you. But again, folks, before we get to my prediction, leave a like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I got some interesting takes before I get to my prediction. Okay? And be sure to share this to your family. And what's up, Awesome Alvin? How you been? You crazy son of a bitch. Oh, I remember you. I want you to put Sick'em Bears, Sick'em Bears for you, because you are a Baylor alumni. So, yeah, we are about to witness our prediction for the college football playoff national championship. The first time 12-team playoff. We've seen some pretty horrific first-round games, somewhat exciting second round, and probably the best semifinal since 2022. Okay? I really enjoyed this season so far. It's been fun. But the keys to the game for both Ohio State and Notre Dame. I'm going to start off with Notre Dame. Just for the simple fact that they're the underdogs, right? For Notre Dame, they just got to keep playing conservative run balance offense against this defense and vertically run the ball. Don't run it to the outside. Vertically run the ball. Have Jeremiah Love back there. Run it down the middle until they pinch down. Then you can do the stretch. Excuse me. I just had chicken. Then you could do the vertical run zones and maybe a play action pass with Riley Leonard or RPO to where Leonard and Greathouse could get something in, or Leonard and Collins could get something in. Implement your running backs in the passing scheme as well. Because Ohio State had a lot of trouble with that against Texas with Jaden Blue. If you could get Jeremiah Love or Jadarian Price back there as a receiving back every once in a while, that would be great. Defensively, you got to lock up Jeremiah Smith or Emeka Egbuka. If you could do both, that is A+ right there. And I do believe that y'all have a secondary that can match up well against those receivers. But it takes every guy on that team. And if I were Notre Dame, I would go on a 5-man rush, 6-man rush, 5-man, 4, 6. I would mix it up to where no less than 4 on a rush. I would not, and you got to watch out for Will Howard when he does run the ball. He did against Texas and kind of fooled us on that fourth down and led Ohio State to a 21-14 lead, and you already know the rest. But yeah, run balance on offense will win you the game for Notre Dame. All right, now Ohio State. Offensively, you have to implement Jeremiah Smith more, and you gotta take into consideration that Egbuka will be targeted, Jeremiah Smith will be targeted. So again, use your running backs in the passing game. Also, run the ball, and just worry about your running backs in this game. This is going to be a run game. It has to be a run game for both Ohio State and Notre Dame. So, for the defense for Ohio State, they have to watch out for the read option for Riley Leonard. And they have to get better at stopping vertical run game. I think that they're a very good mirror defense, but Jack Sawyer and his linebacking core have to do better against the vertical run scheme, and so does that the rest of that front seven. The corners have to lock up Grayhouse and Collins, obviously, and they're going to have to play a little bit of zone defense against this Irish pass attack at times. So, like, if it's like a 3rd and 15 or a little bit less than that, maybe a 3rd and 12, I would play zone against this Irish defense, but have a QB spy with Jack Sawyer right there. And play some fucking physical football like you've been. Like, honestly, Ohio State's been playing really well defensively, physically. Just imposing their will against opponents, quarterbacks, and running backs. That's what I want to see more of with Ohio State. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to come down to quarterback play, obviously. Every game does. But I truly think this game will come down to fourth quarter quarterback play, and also the play calling from Chip Kelly and the offense coordinator for Notre Dame. I can't fucking think of his name for some reason. But I genuinely think that this is going to be a fun game to watch. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, but I think it's going to go over 45.5, but slightly. I don't think it's going to... I think it'll go over just a little bit, not very much. It'll be a fun second half. I don't think that the first half it's going to be all flashes and gets. Maybe a slip screen from Trevion Henderson. Now, in all honesty, I think Ohio State starts off strong first. And Deacon Blue says the Irish defense is too good. Michigan gave a blueprint for beating Ohio State. Yeah, I wish that blueprint would have been passed on to Texas, so that way they could have been in the national championship. But it is what it is. But another key thing for Notre Dame's defense is stopping the run against Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins as well. And I have a lot of faith in Notre Dame's defense that they can stop the run. It's the fact that you got two All-American receivers in Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, who are unbelievable, and that opens things up for Kentrell Tate, who had a fantastic game against Texas. He's usually the redheaded stepchild of the Ohio State receivers, but this is going to be a fun game. That's all I could say. But I think it comes down to fourth quarter quarterback play. And the spread, Deacon, is -8 for Ohio State. Money line is 290 for Notre Dame. And the over and under is 45.5. So there's your spread right there, Deacon. This is gonna be a fun one. I could see it. And Zachary Lewis goes OHIO. How do you do the I-O, right? Is that how you do it, Zach? I don't know. Oh, the over and under, or the spread itself? Yeah, I'm not an Ohio State fan, so I don't know how to do the OHIO. I'd have to learn it through Pat McAfee or something. Yeah, it was at 9.5, and then it dropped down to 8, Deacon. So I don't know. I thought they would at least put like 4 or 5, but they have that Ohio State fever that everyone else does. I genuinely think that it's not going to be a two-score game after looking at everything. Biggest dickus. Okay, here we go. I enjoy Shane Gillis, and he deserves a Notre Dame win. You know what? Shane Gillis has really grown on me, guys. He really has. And that thing with him and Alabama Jones. Oh, man, that's funny. You know, it's crazy that you say that the number seems off on the spread. I think I kind of like the spread, like the 8 spread, more than the 9.5. But there's like something off about that, where it just goes from 9.5 and drops to 8. Something happened with Ohio State or something. Or maybe Notre Dame just got somebody back that they didn't expect to be back, or I don't know. I haven't even looked at injury reports or none of that yet, but it'll be a very interesting game, that's for sure. And I'm going to go with this prediction here before I say anything else. Later, Deacon Blue, and he's right. It should be a touchdown or 6.5. So I'm going to give my honest opinion here. I think it starts off pretty fast for Ohio State. When I say pretty fast, kind of like how they did against us, against Texas. And then Notre Dame's going to wake up a little bit on defense. Score's probably going to be 10-6 at the half. And then you're going to see some fireworks in the third quarter from both teams, which will lead to about a 24-20 fourth quarter. Notre Dame drives down the field, gets stopped, and kicks a field goal, and then Ohio State ends up scoring another touchdown. PAT, good, makes it 31-23. And then Ohio State's defense makes a big stop. 4th down, Riley Leonard tries to throw it. Interception, game over. I have Ohio State winning 31-23. And Whoop Up says, on paper, Ohio State should crush Notre Dame. I agree, but at the same token, never underestimate Notre Dame. Never underestimate Notre Dame against Big Ten teams. I've done it before, and look, I'm going to say is Notre Dame's tough, but in this instance, I think Ohio State's rushing attack is going to hurt Notre Dame. And also implementing the running backs in this game is going to help the passing game out. I think Will Howard will probably have one of his best games in his collegiate career, and that Ohio State defense is going to find a way to stop Riley Leonard uh, in that rush offense for Notre Dame. Third quarter, I think it's going to be explosive for both teams, but it'll be like a 24-20 fourth quarter, and Notre Dame kicks a field goal, and then Ohio State scores off of a big play against Ohio State or against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame tries to go down the field and score and try to get it to where they could score and get a 2-point conversion. Doesn't happen. Fourth quarter, Riley Leonard struggles and throws, picked off. That ends the game. I think Caleb Downs picks it off. I'm just going with that prediction. 31-23, Ohio State will be your new national champions. It's going to hurt my Michigan buddy who I worked in the Navy with for a long time, but I actually have Ohio State beating Notre Dame in this one. And I'll be honest, I don't want either one of these teams to win. I just want a way where Texas can get in. Oh, we got a Marine here. Semper Fi. Yep. Anchors away. But, yeah, I hope I'm wrong, too, for the simple fact that I want to see Marcus Freeman win one, and I want to see Ryan Day lose. But I just think that's the way it's going to go. Unbiased, yeah, I know, Brandon. It sucks. But it is what it is. Yep. Whoop up. Next season. Y'all are going to make me cry before I go over to my buddy's house and go watch Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Which is about 20 minutes. But, yeah. I know about Marcus Freeman being a Buckeye. One of the toughest linebackers in Buckeye history right there, man. He was legit. He was for real over there. And it'd be kind of poetic for him if he won over against Ohio State. But I just want to see Marcus Freeman win one over, well, just win the national championship. I think he's an excellent coach. Unlike Ryan Day, that fat fucking crybaby, trying to pick a fight with Lou Holtz. I mean, are you serious? And this is Lou Holtz's revenge game. So if it does turn out that I'm wrong, I'll be happy anyway. Because I can't stand Ryan Day's fat fucking ass anyway. Josh A. Is that the singer or whatever? Oh my God, yeah, I agree with that. Marcus Freeman would shit on Brian Kelly's entire career. And think about it this way. I don't like Brian Kelly either. I think he's a fucking fraud. Imagine if Marcus Freeman, and he's been in for 3 seasons now, I believe, for Notre Dame, gets it to, or he's in the national championship and wins it all. What would that say about Brian Kelly? Of how bad of a coach he really is. That he can't manage a fucking roster. But Marcus Freeman can, and he's 39 years old. Maybe it's the simple fact that Marcus Freeman understands the locker room better than Brian Kelly's bitch ass. And look, I'm not rooting for either team. I just want a good fucking football game. But that's my prediction. 31-23. Ohio State wins it with a Caleb Downs interception with about 2 minutes left to play. And Ohio State kneels it, wins the game. Whoop-de-whoop. Who gives a fuck? On to the next season, you know. But, Really? Thank you, Isaac Gutierrez. I mean, I know who Josh A is. I haven't really seen him before, but that would be kind of crazy if I actually. I mean, I've been told I look like by a Greek woman. But let me tell you this: I went to Greece when I was in the Navy, and this bartender told me straight up, "You look like Achilles." That's all I'm gonna say. If Greek women tell me that I look like Achilles, then shit. Women are missing out on this. I'm just saying. Because I'm single. What does this show come to? But anyways, tomorrow we'll be back on, or I'll be back on one last time before JMO gets back on next Wednesday as he makes his monumental return, and I'll be talking about the divisional round tomorrow and recapping the wild card. And then next Wednesday we will recap the wild card or the divisional and talk about the conference championship games and kind of talk about what's JMO been up to lately, because he's been missing some action, but not really, because me and him talk every once in a while, and he's excited to come back on for you guys to comment and just ask questions and whatever, and talk a little bit about football, man. I miss having him on the show, just having someone to talk to. Like, I'll say this. I like talking to you guys. I really do. Like, there'll be times where I'll be on by myself, and we'll make this a thing too. I'll be on by myself, but I also want y'all to go on to the other portion of the Pigskin Mafia podcast and watch those live streams with me and JMO, because it's hella fun. I know it's like 2 to 3 hours worth of content where people don't want to watch more than fucking 40 seconds, because us human beings have a retention span of a fucking squirrel. I get it. But it's fun to enjoy talking. It's like talking to your buddies at the bar or buddy at school or wherever you are. It's barbershop banter, That's what we're here for. We're professional fans, not professional analysts. I wish we were analysts. We make more sense than fucking, I don't know, Paul Finebaum, Stephen A. Smith, ESPN in general. I just think that having you guys in our comments, blowing us up, absolutely fucking fantastic. And a good, clean, fun show. Semper Fortis, and yeah, I can't really say that because, yeah, I can't say words. But thank you, biggest dickus. And I want you guys to be a part of this family of the Pigskin Mafia podcast, and I want you to bring more people in joining us. Yeah, I agree with that. Take Notre Dame for the Vegas line. I really do think that this game's going to be a lot closer than we think. But, all right, folks, it's about 15 minutes before I got to go. Or I actually got to go now, but it's going to be 15 minutes before Monday Night Raw kicks on. I'll be at my friend's house watching Monday Night Raw, drinking some booze, and being a guy that watches male soap opera, really. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Again, hit a like, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and tune in to tomorrow's show because I'm 4 for 5 right now in NFL picks right now. And we got the Vikings and Rams game on tonight. So, I got the Rams winning that one. I don't know who y'all guys got. But tune in tomorrow. Let's see how I did. Did I do good? Or did I miss 2? Or did I just miss 1? Because the playoffs so far this has been probably the worst first round that we've seen in NFL history. But I said the Commanders and Bucks game would be interesting. It was. And I had the Commanders winning that game, and the Commanders did their damn thing. Good win for the Commanders. But anyways, guys, this has been a fun show. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're new to the chat, hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it to your family, share it to your coworkers, share it to your pets, share it to anybody that loves football or just wants to subscribe, because fuck it, support whoever, right? But anyways, goodbye, mwah, good night, bang, toodaloo, motherfuckers.